in a bit of a pickle, aren't we? It's a bit chaotic. I think her downstairs had a bit of a, well, she lost control. Oh well, we're tidying it up. I promise you, we are tidying it up. Just might take a little bit of time. And that is actually something that I wanted to talk to you about. You see, after her downstairs spoke to you last, I've had rather a few complaints about her content. You see, people were complaining that what she had offered you as quarantine reading was a little bit too harsh. People felt that she was offering dark and gloomy things, and that what they wanted was lovely and comforting things that would reassure them. And so people have been talking to me and asking me to come here and talk to you about what you should be reading or consuming while you are in isolation. And I'm sorry to tell you this, but in her own sort of back to front manner, her downstairs actually had the right idea. You see, just as I would not tell you to spend the next month or more, we're not really certain how long it'll last, sitting on your sofa, playing games or watching television and eating junk food and doing no exercise, I also cannot tell you to only consume that which is comforting or easy. You see, this situation that everyone has found themselves in through no fault of their own has thrown up enormous emotions, anxiety, fear, anger. All of these things are coming, bubbling to the surface, and they're appearing, breaking out all over the place. Now, this isn't healthy. Not at all. So I'm here to tell you a way that you can process rather than suppress these emotions, so that the next weeks or, heaven forbid, months that this continues can be calmer for you. Now, this is a very old idea, and it's an idea that comes from a time when plagues and misfortune were much more common, when the comforts of the modern world were not readily available, when people faced death and disease and poverty and destruction so many times and yet continued through. That's the concept of catharsis. Many of these old heavy works that her downstairs recommended for you are cathartic works. She doesn't know why she recommended them, because she gets things a little bit back to front. She just enjoys the chaos of these stories. But the purpose of tragedy, and it has been known for a very long time, Aristotle talks of this. Catharsis means cleansing. So a cathartic work is something that cleanses you of those unpleasant and disturbing emotions. And as a society, they cleanse all of us, which is why theatre is a communal act. But Aristotle explained the impact of tragedy on his audiences as cathartic, as cleansing, and that this was the ultimate end of any tragic artistic work, and it marked its quality was how cathartic it was. He wrote, "Tragedy is an imitation of an action that is serious, complete, and of a certain magnitude, through pity and fear effecting the proper cleansing of these emotions." Tragedies generally, cathartic texts certainly, explore moral, social conundrums, they explore taboos, and they play them out to its fullest, most extreme extent. Oedipus Rex playing out the taboo of incest and his not knowing and not seeing, which ultimately leads to his utter ruin. To take one of the downstairs, the one downstairs, to take one of her favourite plays, Macbeth, plays out that concept of ambition, unbridled, without loyalty, and a search for power for the sake of power, without an understanding of how one engages or controls it, and the utter ruin that leads to. It's generally accepted that it's through experiencing fear vicariously in a controlled situation that the reader, the spectator's own anxieties are directed outward through sympathetic identification with the protagonist, and their insights and outlook are enlarged. Okay? Tragedy is therefore healthful and humanizing. One does not want to overindulge in it. That would become depressing, that would become a negative. But to engage with it thoughtfully and to engage with it as a way of purging rather than suppressing emotion is healthful. And this is part of the reason why some texts don't work. When people use a text as purely as therapy for their own purging, it does not create a cathartic text for others. It merely creates a purging for oneself, which is fine. But a cathartic text not only purges those emotions, but rearranges it, brings society back healed, doesn't leave it in that cracked and broken state. Cathartic texts are very difficult to write. But if you would like to take some time and think about some writing, having purged your anxiety and discomfort through some cathartic watching or reading, then her downstairs offer is still running. She's still got 75% off creative writing courses. And it would be a very good way to take your mind off the current events, to help you focus. So I hope you all keep well in this rather frightening time. Use art for what it's for, to help you purge this. And I will see you later. Goodbye.